Commish, I know it's close to game time, so we won't keep you too long. First of all, how you doing today?
Oh, good. A little news, you're right. To take it a little farther, the injury news is not too bad. Kisner is okay. He's been cleared concussion protocol, so he could play. Of course, with Wainwright pitching tonight, Molina will be catching anyway, but I would expect Kisner to play tomorrow or Sunday. And Sosa, his ankle is better, I think, from when he jammed it the other day in New York, although his shot at shortstop appears to be over for right now.
I was going to say
shortstop and Gorman at second base.
Yeah, I don't know how that kind of went up in flames because the manager Marmon was pretty clear and vocal about he's going to get his opportunity. Well, like you said, you had me laughing there, but it's true because I was sort of making fun of that earlier. That didn't seem to be much of an opportunity, but. What do you make of this move? First of all, were you surprised that, let's leave Liberatore aside right now, because they did need a starter Saturday night. Just with Gorman, were you surprised at, the timing of this, and, B, that they seem to be going full speed ahead with Edman at short and Gorman at second? Either one of those things surprise you or perhaps perplex you a little?
A little of both, but then we shouldn't be surprised because they lost O'Neill as a regular player to the injured list because of his sore right shoulder, and Sosa is not playable right now, so you've lost ostensibly two regulars, and they're trying to fill the gaps in their lineup, which have been considerable from time to time. So this is the hottest hitter, one of the hottest hitters in all of minor league baseball right now, and he had a couple 3-hit games, not including home runs, just recently, which means he's hitting something besides home runs,
right?
Striking out as much. His time is now. I mean, he's their top, second top prospect in the system behind Jordan Walker and the number one draft pick. So if you can't, I guess, get to the big leagues and hit 15 home runs and 1.044 OPS, and something's wrong.
Yeah, and he's been cutting down on his strikeouts. They're still high, but he's showing signs of fixing it. And then he's also drawn a few more walks, which is a good sign because it means he's taking some pitches. And to your point, he's been getting some base hits, which I think is a good sign. So I'm glad they waited until he sort of came out of that. He was in a pretty bad rut there for 10, 11 days or so, but he looks like he's out of it, and that's been the MO for him. And if he gets off to a slow start, I wouldn't be too alarmed because he's always had that pattern of struggling and then getting better. So I don't know but I don't know what to expect. Hopefully for the Cardinals, he'll launch a couple pretty soon just for added confidence.
Well, I'm sure there's another shortstop at Memphis that want to know what's going on, too. The former regular shortstop of the Cardinals, Paul DeYoung, who appears to be not in the picture right now either.
Well, he's been struggling down there. Scuffling, I guess, would be the way to put it. How much of a hit do you think this will how much do you think this will weaken the defense?
Well, Oliver Marmol said he's been told by everybody in the organization, including Oquendo, that Gorman will be an average second baseman. Well, on a team of Gold Glovers all over the place, and some near Gold Glovers, and some former, as in Molina and Wainwright, and Carlson, maybe someday a Gold Glover, maybe DeYoung, possibly too. Average kind of stands out as bad, but the average is okay in the big league sometimes. If you can hit. Right,
that's the key, right? When Matt Carpenter played, Skip Schumacher played second base. That was unusual at the time, but I'm gonna move past him because they had some great hitters in a lineup and all that. But when Matt Carpenter was a second baseman and he played quite a bit there for a while, he was at his offensive peak, and I don't other than people who just hated Carpenter because they didn't like Carpenter, I don't recall hardly any squawking about his defense. And I looked it up again today. It was below average. I mean, I'm not saying that to slam him, but it was below average. But he was hitting really, really well, and I don't think anybody cared that much about him being below average defensively at second base.
No, I think the proof will be in the pudding. We'll have to see how he handles it. If he's below average, then you have an issue. If he's average, and if Gorman hits, that's his position, because in all likelihood, Arenado will be the third baseman for years to come. We'll know for sure at the end of the season, but there seems no reason to suggest he's going to opt out. I asked today, was Gorman an outfield candidate with O'Neill being on the IL, and Marmol said no. So that takes care of that.
Well, yeah, and I wonder. I wonder. Do you sense that they don't want to use him as a DH? And I'm not talking about full time, but do you think that he'll enter the picture there, especially with Yepes presumably going to play a lot of left field?
I don't think he's going to enter it any more than Goldsmith did, DHing twice in the Mets series. He's going to be treated as a regular who will get off his feet sometimes to DH, like Arenado did once in New York, I think, also, and O'Neill has done, and Brendan Donovan, who's been, he's never on his feet really. He's always diving into bases, but he's DHing tonight, and that's kind of a day off for him because he plays at a pretty high level.
He really does. So they've got quite a youth brigade going on now. With Donovan's a rookie, Yepes a rookie, Gorman a rookie, Carlson technically a second-year player, and I've always kind of liked it when a team's infused with youth. There's something about it if they can play, and all these guys are talented. But if they can play, maybe there's an energy that they bring. I just always think it's kind of fun. They have an interesting mix, with the three legends and a future Hall of Famer, arguably in Arenado, one of the best first basemen of his generation, and Goldie. The Cardinals have a really cool mix of young and old, accomplished guys that are just starting out.
Well, one of the issues they have, too, is that starting pitching has been inefficient, I would say. It hasn't been bad, but inefficient meaning they can't get to the fifth inning sometimes, or certainly past the fifth inning. And they don't have a lot of guys in their system to fix that. They got one, and they brought him up to pitch tomorrow. And Flaherty's still a month away, and Reyes is a year away or whatever. So they're trying to figure out how to score more runs. Well, this isn't as glaring an issue. I do hope they take into account the fact that these last four games, three of which they lost, are played against the Mets team. I think is the best team in the game right now. Buck Showalter has got them playing old-style National League ball. Squeeze plays, bunts, hit runs, hitting behind the runner, hitting the other field. I was very impressed with that, how they played. I mean,
they're tough.
Played really well. Cardinals didn't play that bad.
Mets are really tough too. There's a tenacity about them that's kind of old school as well. I'm with you. Commish, one more before we allow you to get on with your work day. And I always appreciate you coming on with us, even if you're busy. Is Liberatore a one and done to fill this opening, or if he pitches well, what do you think would happen if he pitches well? Will they think about another plan for him?
Yes, I think if he pitches well, he stays, and if he just kind of labors, I think he goes back, because they needed a guy for tomorrow anyway. When that doubleheader knocked them out of their rotation, Miklasz and Matz both pitched on the same day, and now Matz is going to pitch Sunday and Miklasz Monday. So he needed a guy for Saturday. But that doesn't mean that Hudson and or Hicks has a lifetime pass to be in the rotation if they can't get past the fifth inning. This is a month into the season now, or 7 weeks into the season. They're not showing, they're throwing more pitches, but they ain't getting any farther.
Yeah, it's really, I'm speaking as a fan here. It's really frustrating to watch, and they both work so slow. I mean, and I saw the quote you had, and I couldn't remember the exact wording, but Marmol seemed frustrated too by the pace of play, and the pace of play is really dictated by whoever's pitching, and he seemed to be a little perturbed by that. Could you elaborate for us?
I mean, there was I forget the Derek had the quote, but it was a game, an inning where one of them, maybe both, had tossed 30 pitches. You got your Gold Glove defense sitting on the fields. They're not going to be Gold Glovers if they're not ready to catch a ball.
Yeah,
or have any balls to catch.
It was laborious, man. Well, Commish, have a good weekend, a busy weekend, but a good weekend in Pittsburgh. We look forward to reading you STL Today and, of course, the Post-Dispatch, and we'll talk next week. But thank you so much for your time.
You bet, sir. Thank you.
All right. That's our good friend Rick Hummel, the legend, the Hall of Fame baseball writer from PNC Park in Pittsburgh, which is such a beautiful place. Jim, I think our if we're going to take a trip, not this year, maybe next spring or something, I want to go to Pittsburgh. I think that town's great, and I love that ballpark.
It is amazing to just when I see the photos at that place, I just go, yeah, that's a place I need to go to check out a ball game. It looks just pleasing. You just sit there and you see the background. You go, that is pretty awesome to be able to watch a team play down there. It's a shame what they're doing to the organization, but that is one of the places where you go, yep, got to go see that. Got to be there just to take it in at least once. I think it'd be a special stop.
Getting back to what Hummel was saying, I just find it really interesting that they seem so driven that come hell or high water, Gorman's going to play second base. It's almost as if the Cardinals haven't accepted the fact there is a DH in the National League. I don't know. Like I say so many times, I say it too many times. I apologize for that, but it's such a bizarre organization. I mean, it's been so smart for so long, and now they're just bizarre. Now, I think what they're trying to do is they've convinced themselves that Gorman will be fine at second base, and when Jose Oquendo is the guy that talks about how he's average, they figure, okay, everyone will buy it now. But here's the deal. Okay, I respect if you believe this is your second baseman of the present time and the future, great. And I hope he plays well there. But what if he doesn't? Are you going to be in denial about his defense? Because, frankly, in the past, this front office has signed off on Skip Schumacher playing second. And I got to tell you, I went back and looked at the defensive runs saved, and I was just kind of wincing. I was like, wow. Matt Carpenter, I don't have to tell fans that. Him playing second base was like, oh, my goodness. And so I've heard from fans that say, well, look, they played those two guys there. What's the difference? Well, the difference is that, they have a really good defense, the Cardinals do. Now, and it's a big part of their strategy for winning. It really is a big foundation for their success, and they designed it that way. And that's why they have this ground ball staff, because you got this great infield behind it. Well, the infield, it remains to be seen how good the infield will be now, at least the middle infield. But the other thing is, I went back to, and I don't want to take the time or be boring and give year by year by year, but some of those years, a lot of those years where Schu's playing second base and Carpenter's playing second base, the Cardinals had really bad defenses. I mean, really bad defense, but they also had Pujols, and they also had Carlos Beltran, and they also had Carpenter in peak form, and Matt Holliday, I could go right on down the list. They also hit really, really, really well. It was compared to now, it was a really consistent lineup. Not all the time. Don't get me wrong, not all the time. I remember the 2015 team couldn't score. But, it's easy to dismiss it. Well, they played Schu there, and they played Carpenter there, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but the people that are saying that to me are also the people, I guarantee you, that were hollering the loudest about this defense is a disgrace. This is like what has happened to the Cardinals. They used to be known for their fundamentals. They had some really bad defenses during that time. I tell you what, this team, as constructed, will not be able to overcome a bad defense. It just won't. Oh, they may get a wild card because they're letting everyone in as a wild card. I'm exaggerating, of course. But as far as like winning the division, they're not going to do it with a bad defense. And you know where they are right now in defensive runs saved? And this is before they're making the switch with Edman at short and Gorman at second. They're 17th. That's they were second last year. I mean, a strong second. And by the way, it's still early. They can still climb, but they've been going the other way. Their defense has not been playing as well, and that's before the switch. I'm not opposed to the switch. What I'm saying is I don't understand why they seem to be taking a stand and planting a flag, and there's already a little stubbornness about the whole idea of like, well, look, if he's struggling defensively, it's all right. It's all right. There's this little thing called the DH. It's okay. He can go over there. He's here for his bat, not his glove. So that's my thing. It's like, don't get an attitude. I'm talking about Mo and Marmol. Don't get an attitude about using him at DH. I'm not saying put him there full time. If you want to have your experiment you're convinced he's the next Bill Mazeroski or something. Good for you. But if he isn't, then what? He's a DH then. So just quit acting like that's not a possibility.
I'll tell you what, this is what has come to my mind in trying to figure out, okay, and I've never seen him play like most of us. I want to see him, but I'm the name Dan Uggla keeps popping in my head, Bernie.
Oh.
He could hit, but my goodness, he couldn't catch a ball to save his life. I can't imagine him being that bad, but that's what comes to my mind. Now, Dan Uggla could play right now in the National League because he wouldn't have to play second. He could be the DH.
Yeah.
But I hope it's not going to turn that way. And then, as you stated, if he can't play the field, guess what? He's a hitter. Let him hit.
Yeah, and I just don't know why they seem to be bothered by this idea that some say, well, you can use him at DH. So we'll see how it all turns out. But then again, as Rick Hummel noted and you and I noted, the Cardinals say, well, this is our plan. This is the way we're going to go. Go talk to Edmundo Sosa about that.
Oh, my goodness.
So,
yeah.
I don't know if I hate to say this, but I don't think I think you sort of say these public proclamations, even that Ollie makes, and I like Ollie, and I do think he's a lot more straightforward than the previous two managers. But even Ollie makes these proclamations that suddenly disappear like 2 days later. So it's a bizarre organization.
Yeah, you're right. That's why I'm shocked that they brought both guys up at the same exact time. But I think it screams to desperation from their standpoint.
It up.
Yeah.
But do you think they have the guts to put Hicks back in the bullpen, or to tell Dakota Hudson, look, you missed a lot of time with Tommy John surgery, and maybe you just need to kind of get out of the pressure, go to Memphis, work on your control. We love you, but we just want to see you be sharper. We want to see you be better when you come back. I don't even know that they have the guts to do that.
That's a good point. I think they're too stubborn. They would send Hicks down to be a starter. I don't know what they do with Hudson. I think they just keep running him out there till he just can't pitch anymore.
Yeah.
I
think you're right.